Hello everyone, my name is Aurelie with study number 2513042068. In this video, I'm going to review a memoir that went viral in Indonesia in 2025, which is Broken String by Aurelie Moeremans. In this video, I will talk about Aurelie's life story in this book, and then the part that made me feel angry, the parts that made me feel sad, and also the part that made me respect her because of everything she went through. This memoir was written directly by Aurelie Moeremans, and it was officially released on October 2025. The book tells the story of her life starting from her teenage year in Belgium when she moved to Indonesia to become a child actress until the traumatic experience she went through when she was around 15 years old. In the book, Aurelie talks about how she met an adult man whose name changed to Bobby. At first, he seemed kind and caring, but later, he became manipulative and caused emotional abuse, physical abuse, and also sexual abuse to her. This book was published independently by her, so when we read it, it feels like we can really feel Aurelie's felt during those events. Even though the book talks about painful experience, it also shows her healing process. Aurelie explained how she slowly learned to love life again, how her family supported her again, and how she tried to recover and become stronger. That's why this memoir is not only sad, but is also inspiring for the readers. Next is I want to talk about some part that made me feel angry. One part that made me really feel angry was these scenes in the book. Not because of Aurelie, but because of the way she was treated by the person who hurt her. In this part, she explains that at that moment she didn't even realize what was happening to her. She thought something like that only happened in very obvious and violent situations, not in a place that felt normal and safe. And when I read this, I felt really angry because it showed how the person who hurt her tried to make the situation look normal, even though it clearly wasn't. That part made me feel upset because it showed how someone can manipulate another person, especially when the victim is still very young and doesn't fully understand what is happening. Another part that made me feel really angry is when Aurelie finally tries to report what happened to her. Instead of getting support, the response she received is very disappointing. In this part, she tries to show the evidence she still has, but instead of helping her, they question her and even make her feel like it was her fault. When I read these scenes, I felt really upset because she was already brave enough to speak up, but she was not treated seriously. What made me even more emotional is the fact that she was still very young at the time, and instead of protecting her, the people who were supposed to help her made this situation even harder. Next is the part or chapter that makes me feel really sad. It's the part when Aurelie talks about how people react to her after everything happened. Instead of supporting her, many people judge her and even said she was lying. In this part, Aurelie writes, "While the public shamed me, mocked me, and called me names, I was still bleeding on the inside. Maybe one day that will change, but at the time I knew better. So I let them believe whatever they want." Why this part made me feel really sad because it shows that sometimes victims don't only suffer from the situation but also from the way people treat them afterward. And then the next is the part that touched me the most is when she writes a letter to her younger self. In this part, she talks to her past self. She tells her that everything that happened was not her fault and that she was just a young girl trying to survive something that she should never have experienced. After reading this book, I feel not only sad but also more respectful towards Aurelie because she was brave enough to share her story. And I think this memoir can also make readers more aware and more understanding, especially about what victims really go through. That's all for my honest review. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much.